Now let us look at unsupervised learning approach. So out of the supervised and semi-supervised, one of the machine learning approaches unsupervised learning, and the algorithm which we will discuss is k-means algorithm. Let us see how does it work. Let us assume we have some data, and the data is consisting of that how many hours a student studies. So the data is number of hours of study a day. So in one day, how many hours one student studies? And now we have data points something like 0, then 1, then 5, 8, 12, 15, 16, 2, 7. So these are the kind of data points which we have. Now if you look at the data points, then we can see that there are students who are studying for 0 hours, that means they are not studying. There are students who are studying 1 hour and in a range of 1, then 5, then 8. Few students they are studying in for 12 hours as well. And now for this particular data, looking at this particular data, I have the objective, or I need to identify that how can I make groups of the students on the basis of number of hours they study per day. So that is how I need to make a group. So looking at the data, what I can do is I can try to group them based upon how many number of hours they study. So the similar number of hours, that those students can be grouped under one group, and we can have second group for another set of range of hours students are studying. So that is how the approach would work. So assuming that in k-means algorithm, K stands for centers, or we can say average points. That is the mean points. So taking k as 2 in this case. So if I want to make two groups, so I will have to identify two center points. Looking at the data, I can easily identify two center points here, and the two center points could be, let us assume that the two center points could be, one is 5 and the other center point is 15. So I have randomly taken these two center points. There was no as such correlation. I have randomly taken. And now the data which we have, let us write the data in a sorted fashion. So we have 0, we have 1, then followed by 2, then we have 5, followed by 7 and 8, then we have 12, 15 and 16. 12, 15 and 16. So we have arranged the data in a sorted fashion, and now we are trying to calculate the distance of this data from each of the points taken as centers. So we have 5 and 15. With 5, if we calculate, the distance would be 5. With 15, the distance would be 15. Similar way, for 1, the distance would be 4 and 14. For 2, the distance would be 3 and 13. For 5, the distance is 0 and 10. Similar way, for 7, the distance is 2 and the distance is 8. With 8, the distance is 3 and 7. With 12, the distance is 7, and the distance is 3. With 15 the distance is 10 and here the distance is 0. With 16 the difference is 11 and here the distance is 1. So now try to identify in each of the columns which one is the lowest distance. So let me now make two groups. So one group is group 1, GRP1, or we actually call them as clusters. So C1 and we have C2. So C1 and C2 are there. So 5, C1 actually represents 5 as a median, as a mean, and C2 represents 15 as a mean. Okay, so 0 point is nearer to 5, so I'm writing 0 here. Then for next one, 1 also is nearer to 5 because the distance is 1 only, and distance from 15 is 14, so it is also nearer. 2, if you see, 2 is also nearer to 5, so I'll write it here. And after 2, if you see, we have 5 obviously, which is nearer to 5, and then we have 7 is also nearer to 5, and 8 is also nearer to 5. Then 12, so 12, if you see, it is nearer to 15, so I will write it in group 2. After 12, 15 is nearer to 15, so that is also group 2. 16 is also nearer to 15, so that is also group 2. So on the basis of distance, now you are able to see that I have two groups created. Okay, so this is group 1 and the other is group 2. So two groups are created, okay, based upon the distances. So this is another group created, so it is very much visible. Now what additionally we can do is, now we can identify the average of the numbers present in group 1, that is C1 cluster, and average of the data points present in C2. Okay, so let us calculate that. Okay, so here we have in group 1 we have 0 plus, we have 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8, and the sum is 23, and the total number of values 0, 1, 2, 5, 7 and 8. So divide by 6, total 6 values we have. So the value comes as 3.83. So the mean here we have is 3.83. So I'll write it separately. 3.83 is the mean in case of cluster 1 here. Similar way, the mean for the second one would be, we will have 12 plus 15 plus 16 divide by 3. So the value comes out to be 14.33. So here we will have a value 14.33. So this is the average or the mean we have got from both of the clusters formed. Now what we will do, now we will try to calculate the distance from the new means. Okay, so second time we have a mean here, that is 3.83, and we have a mean here, that is 14.33. So from these we will try to identify the differences. So if we see for, so I'll quickly try to identify. Okay, now if we see that 3.83, the distance from 0 remains same, 3.83 only. So we will write it here as it is. that it is 3.83 the distance, and with 14.33 it will remain 14.33 only. Now distance from 1, so it will become 2.83. Similar way, here from 2 it will become 1.83. 1.83. From 5 it will become yes 2.83. So let me quickly write this. So here if you see, I have calculated the distance from the new centers, new averages. So again we will do the same thing. Previously we tried to make clusters with minimum distance. The same thing we would do here. Now if you will look at the distances from the new means or new centers, again let us try to classify them. So we have one cluster. Okay, let us take one cluster C1, and under C1 what all will come. Okay, and under C2 what all will come. Let us try to identify. So C1 and C2. Okay. So C1 we have and C2 we have. So under C1, 0, if you see the data point 0, it has got less distance towards 3.83, so 0 will come here. Then 1 will also come in the C1, looking at the distance. Then 2 will also come under C1, and 5 will also come under C1, and 7 will also come under C1, 8 will also come under C1, and then 12 will not come under C1, 12 will come under C2. So from here 12 will start, 12 will come under C2, and then 15 will come under C2, then 16 will come under C2. So now if you see that the cluster formed previously and the cluster formed now, so if you can see that both the clusters are having same values. Okay, C1 is having 0, 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and here C1 is having 0, 1, 2, 5, 7, 8. So previous cluster and the current cluster both are having same values. This means we have successfully clusterized or successfully grouped our data. If the values would have a difference, then I would have asked to take one more time the average of the new cluster which we have got, and then calculate the distance once again. Okay, so in this case what happened, this was the first iteration, I will say. Okay, first iteration. Okay, and after first iteration we got some output. Okay, so this is the output of first iteration, C1 and C2. Then we moved on for the second iteration. So this is the second iteration we have, and in the second iteration also we got this output. Okay, so this is the output for second iteration, C1 and C2, and we checked that the C1 and C2 in the second iteration and the first iteration are having the same value. Therefore we conclude that we have formed a right cluster. Okay, so C1 and C2 are the right and correct clusters because they are repeating in the second iteration also. Fine. So here we have created two groups. Okay, and that too without having any kind of labeled data. Okay, we had no idea that what exactly 0, 1, 2 belongs to. Okay, but based upon the distances between them we have calculated. So this is the k-means approach. You can also watch my another video which is on k nearest neighbor, which is supervised algorithm. Then you will be able to understand the approach of supervised with labeled data and the approach of unsupervised, which is with unlabeled data. Thank you.